Linear systems, equations, and solving linear systems, part of the exam. This is the exam review. So, first question. The cost C in dollars of renting a car and driving D kilometers is given by the following formula. C equals 0.5 D plus 20. Now, I realize this is a line. I'm going to remind myself that Y equals mx plus B. And if I take a look at this, I want to realize that Y is like C, the total cost, and D is like X. So if this was a graph, we'd have cost here and D here. So this would be like X, and this would be like Y. So since M is in front of X, that means that this right here is the slope, and that is our Y-intercept. So even before I start reading the questions, I should make that connection with Y equals mx plus B. So what do the numbers 0.5 and 20 represent? So imagine that I didn't drive any kilometers. This means the cost would be $20. So the 20 represents the initial fee or initial cost in dollars. So the 0.5, I probably could put 20. This would be, really if I put a 0 here, maybe it would be better. That would mean 50 cents. Represents the cost per kilometer. Because right there it says D kilometers. So that's what they're asking. But again, like I said, you have to make that connection between Y equals mx plus B to realize the slope and the initial fee. So in part B, they say determine the cost of renting a car and driving 240 kilometers. So right there, D equals 240 kilometers. So I'm going to do substitution for that. So I'll write down the formula, and then I'm going to substitute in for D. Now, you don't have to put in the kilometers, because D would actually be cost per kilometers. And I have that initial fee of $20. So I'd get out my calculator, and I would multiply 0.5 times 240. That's 120. And then I just write the plus 20. Because remember, BEDMAS, I have to do multiplication first. So let's finish that off. Cost equals 140. Now, yeah, that's an answer, but it's a word problem, and I should say that the total cost would be $140 to drive 240 kilometers. So that's somehow work in that 140. All right, so part C. If the cost of renting a car is $91, determine the distance driven. So what I want is I want the total cost is equal to 91. So that's C is equal to 91. So again, I'm going to write my formula down, and I'm going to show my substitution. But this time I'm subbing in for C. And this is where our rearranging equations comes in handy. So we kind of do reverse BEDMAS. We want to isolate D. So first we have to do addition and subtraction. So I want to get this term all by itself. So I look here and say, well, the 20 is adding. Opposite of adding is subtracting. Whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other side to keep it balanced. So I chose that to make that 0. I'm going to have to come up here, and 91 minus 20 is going to be 71, and that equals 0.5 D. Now again, I still want to isolate D, but I have a number in front of it. That number is multiplying. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. Whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other. So again, you're going to get out your calculator. 0.5 divided by 0.5, that's 1, not 0, because then our D would disappear. And I'm left with 71 divided by 0.5 is going to be 142 equals D. Now I know that's strange, the letter's on the other side, but you can just rewrite it like this and just flip them. So think back, D represents the number of kilometers, so therefore the distance driven was 142 kilometers. Put in your units. That's important, especially in word problems. All right, so I'll pause there. If you want to pause it and take a look at that, check your answers. We'll go on to number 2. There we go, number 2. Here's number 2. The equation relating the cost of a pizza to the number of toppings at Pizza Pizza is y equals 0.75x plus 650. Now this one is written with a y and an x. So right away we look y equals mx plus b if you want to put that underneath there. What is the slope of the equation? Well, the slope is whatever's in front of x. So the slope is 0.75. That's the number. What does the slope tell us? Well, this is probably the cost. And if I think about a pizza has an initial fee and then you get charged per topping. So it must be 75 cents per, because that's a cents, right? We need to put in our units, 75 cents per topping. So it's really cost per topping. And this would be a full description. What's the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is that number. It's 6.50. What does the y-intercept tell us? It is the plain pizza price with no toppings. So if I just usually cheese is included, so it'd be $6.50 for a cheese pizza. All right, so Ms. Singh ordered a pizza that ended up costing $11. How many toppings were on the pizza? Show your work. All right, so the first thing I'm going to think about is there's that $11. The pizza cost $11, so that's y. That's the total cost. Y is equal to 11, and what I'm solving for, x. So let's write down the formula. Y is equal to 0.75x plus 6.50. Sub in the 11. So again, I want to isolate or solve for x, however you want to think of that. So let's get this term by itself. So to get this term by itself, I want to look at getting rid of this term. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. Whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other. And I chose that number to get rid of this one. That becomes 0. Need a little bit more room. So I'm going to go up here. So $11, or 11, minus 650 is going to be 450. Because 6 from 11 is 5, but I have to subtract another 50 cents. And here I'm just left with this term because I didn't do anything with it. I'm going to do something with it now. All right, so let's take a look at this. I'm going to start showing you guys how to do some of this stuff on a calculator. All right, so you're going to take that, you want to isolate x. So that means we need to divide by 0.75. So let's divide by 0.75 on both sides. And I chose that to make this coefficient 1. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in our calculator. Make sure you're putting in the decimals in the right place. Let's see if you can see that. There we go. Again, you should be doing this on your calculator. I can't help you with your calculator the day of the exam. So 4.5 divided by 0.75. And that ends up being 6, a nice number. So what does that mean? It means, therefore, the pizza had 6 toppings. Done. Okay, and I'll do another video for the next one. But I'll just maybe see if I can stop there so you can pause it, write down what you need to. Okay?